Good afternoon and welcome for the stream of the Academy Series 2022. It's round 9 and we are at the Poznań circuit here in Poland. And we're currently watching the qualifying. We've got quite a few drivers and now 27 drivers in server. And actually we had 28. My name is Menno Klont and I will take you at least through qualifying, where we are 5 minutes in the qualifying session. It's now Carlos Santana in the red car who currently has the fastest time, and the second position now is for Risto Capet, who I think a lot of GPV history people who are watching it for longer than today of course know Risto Capet. But there are more names in. We now have got Filip Czerwinski in P3 with David Carter, also a older name, in P4 with Oliver Terras now in P5 and Jesse Latinen in P6. But we're currently, I believe, on board with Risto Capet, who's still on his one of his flying laps, I believe. And actually, I believe he got a purple sector too, so we shall see where it brings him. And actually he goes, I believe, to pole position with a 1:24.676. So of course Risto Capet delivers. I think a lot of people, a lot of persons said, yeah, well, if he's competing, he is of course has a chance to be the class of the field. But it is still very close. And I think a lot of faster lap times incoming. I believe we got David Carter still on an outlap. I believe we got Jonas Corrala with green and green in both sectors. So let's see what Jonas can do. And I believe he improves to P7, so an improvement in time and in a few positions. Well done. Let's see who else is putting in a faster sector time. I believe that's Jesse Latinen. And of course we know him from also the races in the Formula Sprint 2 and Formula Sprint 1, which he did last week in Barcelona. So let's see if he can go a bit faster. He is half a second from pole, but yeah, knowing him a bit, I think he can move up at least closer in time. Maybe not in position, depends of course what the rest are doing. So we are looking. A lot of drivers are currently driving, so yeah, also in the lifetime which I now have in front of me, I see a lot of drivers jumping with green sectors, so it's just on a cameraman what we actually can see, because yeah, we've got a lot of drivers going fast. Also Oliver Terras, I believe David Carter has a faster sector 2, and Carlos Santana now a faster sector 1, so a lot of improvements with 7 minutes still to go in this session. So Joe Gillett with 2 faster sectors, he's now in P20, might improve. Keep an eye out of this. I believe Joe did improve. And I believe David Carter now improved to P3. I believe he was in P4 before, yes. And Joshua Dexter now is in P7. Like I said, Joe Gillett in P16. So it's an interesting circuit, this. I think for a lot of drivers this is not the most well-known track of the calendar. But I guess for our Polish drivers, and we've got quite a few, this is yeah, the home race. That's I think some Polish pride. You want to show here what you've got on the national circuit, and that's of course great to see. Well, I believe we also were briefly on board with William Ponisi, and yeah, he just decided to race again. I believe last time he raced was last year, and yeah, with some yeah, if he has got some time off, he just yeah, wants to do some racing as well. Yeah, that's very good to see. So taking another look at the live timing board. And I believe Carlos Santana now has got a faster sector too. So let's see what Carlos Santana can do. We also we saw Nick Kuiper, who's now in P10. He should be a new name in this Academy series. But yeah, we see a lot of new names, and yeah, quite a few stick, and they stay here for longer. What can Carlos Santana do? And actually he improves with 2 tenths, or at least he improved it more, but he now is 2 tenths ahead of Risto Caput. Is this the sensation we are waiting for? Is Carlos Santana showing like, I'm going to beat everyone, including David Carter and Risto Caput, who are, yeah, for the GPV viewer, of course, way more known as Carlos Santana. But yeah, you can make, of course, a very good name of yourself if you can get pole position here, and it was at least a very good lap from his side, so that's very good to see. But the session isn't over, and well, a lot of green sectors. I believe Domenico Scarpelli has got green and green, so also wondering where he can end up. And I believe it's still P15, so it might be a mistake in the final corner. Or maybe he did improve. I see Marek Petras going faster now. Where will he end up? He's in P17 now, so a lot of improvements. I see Christian Vazdar was P24. Where can he go to? Christian Vazdar, I think he drove quite a few races in this year's Academy series, and yeah, you see him steadily improve. I think it's, yeah, he was a bit of a rookie driver in F-Factor 2, but you see time after time, you see him improve. And where can he jump in now? Can he improve positions? Can he pass William Ponisi? And he can, he passes William Ponisi, and I think that's a personal victory for Christian Vazdar. So that's really good. So he's in P23, but William Ponisi is also improving his first sector. So the Vazdar-Ponisi fight is on, so that is a very interesting fight. So it's not only for the top 10 places or the top 5 or pole, no, it's also for P23 who's starting there. It's a big fight. It's very good to see. We got under 3 minutes to go in this session. You just see a lot of drivers now trying to time their laps so that they get out as late as possible and can start their lap. I believe we've got Christers Berzins now in green sectors. He's in P7, 9 tenths of pole. Can he improve, and can he get a bit closer to that pole position time? And where can he go to? And I believe he improved his time, but not his position. But that makes it a little bit more safe in P7. And I believe he can still go out. Well, I see David Carter actually is improving on his second sector. So it all depends on that final sector, if he can get closer. It's quite a gap from P3 to P2. But yeah, of course, David Carter also knows how he needs to sim race. So I think he can improve quite a bit on his time. Does he? Yes, he does, with 1 full tenth. And yeah, it's not an improvement, it just makes it more solid than P3, but with one, I think, one group of one fast lap to go for every driver, a lot can change. And I believe Filip Sherinsky actually produces a faster sector too, so it's very interesting. Can Filip, who's now nearly 2 tenths down on David Carter, can he improve on the lap so that he actually jumps to P3 or even better? We will see that very soon. Filip, there he comes. Filip Sherinsky, can he go to P3? And he can't. He improves, but he can't beat David Carter. But let's see, he might have another lap. What about Jesse Latinen? Latinen is quick. Risto Caput is going quick. Mateusz Sokolowski is quicker. But what about Jesse Latinen? Can he jump from P6 higher? Yes, he jumps to P4 behind David Carter, but before Mr. Sierzinski. And what does Solowski do? He jumps to P9. So that's at least what we see there. Got a few faster sectors, but not many at the moment. But we still have got time. People can still start their lap. And I believe we've got Christian Vazda with a faster lap, faster second sector. And can he jump again ahead of William Punisi? Because I believe he did that before, but now Punisi jumped back, and now Christian Vazda is trying. And what about Bradley Sellers, who we see here? He's got a faster sector 1. Jake Johnson also got a faster sector 1, so it's very exciting. I believe Carlos Santana did enough for pole position. But what can Bradley Sellers do? Can he jump into the top 10 and push Joshua Dexter out of it? An experienced Bradley Sellers, of course, knows how to do it, but it's not only about experience, it's also about getting the lap out when it counts. Experience will help with that, but it's not a guarantee. And I believe Christian Vazda jumped ahead of William Punisi again, so that's very good. What can Bradley Sellers do? Bradley Sellers, what can you do? He jumps to... I believe he stays in P12. And what can Jake Johnson do? What can Mike Bell do? Mike Bell in P13. Bit of a silent session for Mike Bell, but yeah, it's Mike Bell. You don't see him, you don't hear him, but he is still there, and when you least expect it, Mike Bell is there to strike. Jake Johnson is in P22, stayed in P22, and I think that's our qualifying over. If we wait for Mike Bell, can he improve? And he goes to a 1:26.860, doesn't improve on his lap, and I believe that's everyone in this this session. So that was the qualifying session for the Academy Series here in Poznań. We'll have 2 races very soon. I believe both races are 11 laps. So a cool qualifying session. I believe we will go for a small break, and then we will be back with you, hopefully with a co-commentator, but we shall see. But thanks at least for watching the qualifying session. We'll be there soon. Sorry, that was a bit hectic.
Hello everybody, welcome back to round 9 of the Academy series. My name is Daan Hut, and I'll be doing the commentary tonight with my co-host Scott Sovik.
Hello there.
Me and Scott are taking over from Menno now, so it will be a bit of swap with the commentary, but we're all happy and excited to do this and see how the race will end up. Because it's going to be an exciting round. Me and Scott were already talking about this track a bit earlier. And yeah, what are your expectations, Scott? You already told me that you drove the track and you drove the car, but not together.
Oh yeah, no. It'll be interesting to see how exactly people will be doing tonight. Obviously, it's despite its length, it's quite a short track, but it's still somewhat technical, especially in Sector 2. So and the first part of Sector 3. So there's a good combination, mostly mid-speed corners through that section. So it'll be interesting to see just exactly how people handle that.
Yeah, exactly. I've driven this race 2 years ago, and just like you said, it's exactly that. You have quite some high-speed sections of the track and a nice hairpin where you can try to make the move, also in T1. So yeah, I'm very curious how the race will turn out. We have quite some exciting names, or at least one big name, Risto Capit, one of like the esports drivers that also drove here at GPVWC before. So I'm curious how that's going to pack out.
Yeah, no, it'll be interesting because Risto Capit is a name that's, you know, he's got pedigree behind him. I mean, he's already raced here before, and he's been second in 2017 in Super League and third place the year after. So, and you know, he's currently driving in quite big series, so and has done so in the last couple of years. So it'll be interesting to see how he gets along, because this car is quite different to what he might normally be used to be driving. So it'll be interesting to see how he gets along with that car.
Exactly, and today we have somebody that can challenge him, Carlos Santana. He was quite quick during qualifying. I didn't catch it where he placed, 1 or 2, but it's gonna be a lot of fun. A lot of like Academy is here to let people grow and to give them an opportunity to drive here at GPVWC and to showcase themselves. So let's see how the race will end up, and yeah, like where the session is finished, so we will move on in a bit.
Yeah, no, for sure. Santana's looked quick going into this event. I mean, he's been looking like the fastest guy around this track. So I mean, it's looking promising, especially if he's starting up front as well. I mean, that'll be a massive boon towards his success in the first race at least.
Exactly. As we can see the man himself here doing some laps now, as we are waiting for the session to move on and go to the race, what we are all waiting for.
Yeah, no, we're not too far now from the start of the first race now, so it'll be for sure it'll be I think we've got an exciting race ahead of us, an exciting 2 races actually, 11 laps around here. But you know, as you say, I mean, not only do you have Capit racing as well, but you've got other drivers here who are established somewhat in GPVWC. You've got Mike Bell, who has, you know, won races at GPVWC, and you've also got David Carter and Will Panisi, just to mention a few names as well. But yeah, so it'll be interesting to see how they get along tonight.
Exactly. Okay, and as you can see on the screen right now, we're currently in the 9th round of this championship. Nowadays, Academy is a championship. Beforehand, it wasn't, so that's already something nice to see, that it's changed around a bit, because before people would drive the series all year and didn't really get some kind of, well, not per se title, but they now they can see like how they progress and how they get up on the grid. So that's nice to see as well. And as you can see as well, we are going to drive 11 laps both races over a course of over a track that's 4 kilometers long. And I believe we're now going to the race, as I can see things moving around. Yes.
Yeah, no, sorry. Sorry, just, no, but yeah, as you can see on the track map here, you've got turn 1, as mentioned by Dan earlier, as, you know, it's an overtaking opportunity for the, guys and gals here, but it'll be, turn 1's probably one of the best chances to overtake here, and there's some other, turn 1 and turn 4 or turn 3, depending on how you look at it, it's probably going to be the places where you're going to see the most overtakes here today.
Too many racetracks in, of course. The Poland, of course, saw a big surge in motorsport popularity when Robert Kubica was in Formula One in the late 2000s and early 2010s, of course. As we see the field getting away, and it looks like the pole setter a little bit slow and holding everyone up there. But all drama averted, and we're going to go through the formation lap and then hopefully the grid fairly soon, guys. Is it okay if I take it through? I'm sorry I have to show up a bit late here. It's been a bit hectic, and my computer's taking age to start, and I finally got in just as the formation lap is set off. Right,
go ahead.
So, pole position will be taken up by Carlos Santana, and immediately the time screen is filled over, so I can't actually keep up with that. Jesus Christ. Right, okay, we'll just skip everyone, fine. There we go, Carlos Santana, Risto Capit second, David Carter third, Gassi Lahtinen takes up the second row in fourth. Sorry, I'm just panicking here at this point, because I know I can't keep up otherwise, because it would just change. Then third row, Filip Savinski qualifies amazing fifth, ahead of Oliver Taras, of course, pole setter last time out in Nürburgring. Christos Bezins is seventh, ahead of Jonas Karula. In ninth, it's Matthias Solakowski, ahead of Joshua Dexter. Rounding out the top 10, then it's Nick Cooper and Bradley Sullers in 11th and 12th respectively. Look at them all going a double file then on this formation lap. Mike Bell is 13th, Dylan McKenna an impressive 14th, ahead of Joe Grillet. Domenico Scarpelli qualifies 16th. And in 17th, it is Bradley Lamport, Marek Petras 18th, Jeffrey Ellis a disappointed 19th on the grid. He'll be able to make progress with Yanis Lulati right behind him. 21st will be Dean Sheesby, ahead of Jake Johnson in 22nd, Christian Vastar 23rd, William Panisi 24th, and I believe that might be the field then. Oh, Caroline Harvick 25th, Louis Smith 26th, Leo Smith 27th, Frederick Lejon 28th, and I think there might be just one more to round out the top 29 or 30, is there? Yeah, there we go, 29th, Brody Lawless. So English, not American, as I said last time around. I apologise to Brody for that, but I think we're still halfway around the formation lap, and everyone doing very well to avoid bumping into one another. They're all very, very tight and closely packed together, aren't they, Dan?
Yeah. As you can see, are they doing a rolling start or are they doing a standing start?
I've no idea. Your guess is as good as mine.
Because it seems like they're doing
more
a
like
rolling
start, doesn't it? Yeah. So it'd be interesting if Carlos Santana is going to dictate the pace here and then just rocket away.
Yeah, I'm curious.
Very experienced alongside him. Risto, of course, RAG driver, famously last year, and won the Formula Challenge at Monaco, among other things. So Capet definitely one to watch out for. Santana has been doing a lot of practice here at this Poznań circuit.
Yeah, it's really exciting how it's going to play out over here. Hopefully
ahead.
It seems to now.
Looks like they are about to get into the grid slots then, so everyone just taking their time then and bunching right together on the formation lap, which, as you say, very unusual. So what should we watch out for then, Scott, as the cars start to filter into their spots?
Well, there's always the classic lap one havoc that can occur, especially with so many cars on the grid on such a small track. But it'll definitely be interesting to see, first of all, how the first row deal with the rows behind, getting them on the slipstream, going from from the grid through turn 1 and to turn 4. And we've gone green in Poznań now. Santana with the lead, but it's Capit with a heck of a start there. He's got the inside for turn 1, and looks like he's just about got the lead there.
Here we go. So Risto Capit was telegraphing his intention earlier. Too much. I'm really sorry about this, guys. My CPU is completely overheating now. But it is double file then into turns 3 and 4. And David Carter struggling to hold on to that third position and pushing off. Is that our pole sitter being pushed off there in the blue car? Or is that somebody else? I think it's someone else, so. It's really hard to tell these guys apart with no bloody timing screen. Apologies, everyone.
Yeah, as Risto Capit is leading the way with Santana and Carter behind him, all close following. Everybody's still on track. It seems as there were no crashes, even though I see 2 DNFs already in the live timing list. With Chervinsky just making the move on Kerala. Oh, and a big crash!
Ski and Berzin's involved in that one, and a bit more drama as well, as they all seem to go wide at these fast corners under the bridge, don't they? And Brody Lawless is already up to 18th, by the way. To the grid.
Solid start from Lawless there. Capit taking across the line for lap 2 there with 6/10 of lead over Carlos Santana in second, and David Carter another second behind in third. Good start from. You have to say, good start from particularly Cap and Carter there. Chervinsky in 5th will be a bit disappointed to see that he's not been able to do more than 5th there, considering he had that moment into turn 4 in the previous lap. There we go, Lahtinen in P4 there, right behind David Carter there, on this side as well. Here we go, could we be looking at a move here, or, yeah, looks like it's going to be a bit difficult to get past in this section.
From Carter in the final corner there. No, it's not the final corner, sorry, it's the penultimate, ultimate corner, I think.
Yeah, it's a very interesting section of the track there, because it is pretty much a Carter.
in trouble. Domenico Scarpelli dropping down the order, sorry, so I think his race might be run.
Yeah, it doesn't look promising for Scarpelli, but yeah, you've got Lahtinen right behind David Carter now. He's going to be trying. There we go. Sellers in 9th, right behind Oliver Taras.
Yeah, and Taras, of course, qualified on pole at the Nürburgring. You see Mike Bell making a move up ahead against Joshua Dexter, who has made a really good first lap. Side by side go the 2 turquoise cars with the 2 red cars behind them. So good luck telling either of these guys apart. But there we go, Mike Bell is through then, and now Joshua Dexter at the mercy of Bradley Sillers and Oliver Taras, who's made it still ahead of Bradley Sillers then.
I can see Sellers trying to. I can see Sellers trying to make. Yeah.
They're alongside, and Dexter needs to be careful not to take Oliver Taras out, but we did see them come together, I think, at the Nordschleife Nürburgring, and here comes Bradley, so let's take advantage of that. Taras will be very annoyed then with Joshua Dexter really just bumping into him there.
And Bradley Sellers just fitting in and tapping off.
Oh no!
Dexter.
Absolute disaster there for Mike Bell then. Is that my nose? Sorry, oh dear. And Sellers makes his way through, as indeed does Karula. So it's Dexter, sorry, that got me spun there. And Santana's back in the lead ahead of Capit. So Capit has made a big mistake and dropped 3 seconds out. There he is coming off for the grass there. So I think he's dropped it mid-corner, hasn't he? And had to sort of take evasive action and rejoin the track. And that's going to drop Risto Capit down to 5th position. A very uncharacteristic mistake there from, what nationality is Risto? Is he Finnish?
Estonian.
Estonian, there we go. I wasn't too far off. But there we go. There's Jeffrey Ellis being overcome by David McKenna, who of course qualified in 14th position, is now in 13th. So Jeffrey Ellis has been slowly making progress then from 19th on the grid. That's a bit wide for Nick Cooper in the pink car.
as we can see, everybody a bit bunched up now because of the incident earlier on in the last lap with Dexter. Corolla just not going for the move here in the hairpin, following Bradley Sellers. Can he make a move somewhere else this lap? Sellers driving on edge. But
Sellers
seems
trying to
little
push
under
to catch
control.
Mike Bell ahead of him. It always seems these two end up in the same place on track, don't they? Because they know each other very, very well, of course. But they're on first name terms every time we do interviews. And Jeffrey Ellis gains another place there because that is McKenna making a mistake, and Dylan McKenna, not Daniel McKenna, as I erroneously called him earlier, trying to get the cutback angle all over the curb and a little bit on the inside there. Section almost looks like a karting track, that bit where they've got the grid lined out there in the middle of that corner. Fortunately, Dylan McKenna is knocked down to 14th, and Ellis continues his rise as there's a bit more grass cutting going on. This is where we saw Risto Capit drop it earlier, drop out of the lead, and this is great news, of course, for Santana, who has now got a 3-second gap to David Carter. Tinen up to third, right behind, and Savinsky also starting to apply pressure there as well. A lot of work to do then over the next 6 laps or so.
Yeah, no, like as you say, Santana been very quick. You know, actually going 6/10 faster than Carter that previous lap. So he is actually pulling out quite a nice gap on Carter in the second place there. I don't think Carter will be under too much pressure from Lattinen either behind him. And yeah, no, it'll be interesting to see how that develops the coming laps. Although. Very, very back and forth on this grid. Here we go. Taras then into turn 6, into the karting section of this track.
Yeah, I'm naming corners as we go, and here goes Taras then side by side with Grillette, I think. Sorry, not Grillette. I'm making up names as well as the corners as well as the drivers. But unfortunately, Oliver Taras goes really, really wide there, and that is really going to enable Cooper right behind to start attacking him.
No, yeah. As you, obviously, it was unable to do much to get past Taras there, but Taras will ruin that mistake that he just made, as will Kappa, who made that similar mistake a couple of laps ago. But Santana, yeah, doing a fine job. Seems to pull out another couple of tenths on Carter there, the previous lap.
Another driver to keep your eyes on, Brody Lawless, 4/10 then behind Marek Petras. Remember, Brody Lawless started 29th and last, doing a last to somewhere in the top 10 sort of challenge. There is Jeffrey Ellis as well on a challenge of his own, right behind Cooper. So he's hoping to get back in the mix with Oliver Taras ahead of him. So it's interesting we see so many drivers sort of out of position. We've got a lot of big hitters at the front that we don't usually see impressing, like Santana, like Capet, like David Carter as well. And it's only really Jesse Lattinen, of course, who won race 1 at the Nürburgring and beat Oliver Taras, of course, has been able to hold the candle to them. Jeffrey Ellis really being held up here by Nick Cooper, and Cooper starting to take wide lines, sort of leaving himself vulnerable here, and Jeffrey Ellis is going to be through if there's even the slightest sniff of opportunity, but that was going to be a little bit too close indeed, and Jeffrey Ellis wisely backs out of that one and repositions himself for a counter-attack later on. Oh, and off he goes.
Oh, and somebody else also.
Taras with a massive one.
Oh, up and over. The bucking Bronco ride for Oliver Taras as Santana sets another fastest lap. Somehow, all 2 wings have stayed on the card there, but Oliver Taras, that's going to give him motion sickness if he's got VR headset on. Hopefully he doesn't. Wow, that felt very Andrea de Cesaris at Austria all those years ago in the 80s. You've seen the video where he's just doing somersaults going over a hill at the side of the track. That felt very reminiscent of that. So Oliver Taras, who's the only good thing that's happened to him this season is really that his race in Dubai, race 1, and his pole in the Nürburgring. Everything else has gone catastrophically wrong there, and that is a very visual illustration of it doing so.
Yeah, we had Le Mans this weekend, but it seemed like he was impressing somebody from Le Mans.
Reminded me of the Mercedes in the late 90s flipping down the straight just randomly, yes. Maybe Oliver Taras hit a squirrel like the number 8 Toyota did. Anyway, Carlos Santana leading now, 1:24.9, his best lap of the race. just set 3.7 seconds and 4 seconds actually ahead of David Carter, who's actually defending very, very well. Jesse Lattinen got the gap to 1.5 seconds now. Lattinen having to defend himself from Savinski, and then Capet, who is only 2/10 behind Philip Savinski. As we see on track, a visual illustration of that gap, only 3/10, and it could well close in the slipstream then. So Risto Capet, with 3 laps to go, is desperate to get back into the top 4 here after blowing what, to be honest, looked like an easy win earlier on. Well, nothing's ever easy, but you know what I mean, guys.
Yeah, no, I'll be ruining that error that he's made. But I mean, despite that, he's making a good job of recovering so far. You know, he's right behind Chervinsky here. He's very dangerously close to actually being able to make a move, but through here, he's going to have a tough time of doing that.
So Savinski was just parking it on the apex there, so that there was nothing that Risto Capet could really do to get around him, because it's such a narrow part of the second. Here we go into the fast corners again. Capet sort of showing his nose that Philip Savinski is pretty wise to this at this point. He's starting to see Lattinen escape up the road in front of him. So very much Savinski, who was in attack mode earlier on, is now in very much full defense mode with Capet bearing down on him, as you say.
Chervinsky doing a magnificent job to keep Capet behind. Capet going a bit wider, but still hanging on. Yes.
So that bridge angle is a little bit deceptive because it's quite low down and with a sort of fisheye lens. So if someone's making a move just in the corner before, it's a bit hard to see. As Santana sits yet another fastest lap of the race to extend the gap to David Carter yet further on lap 9. That's a 1:24.788. The middle sector there, 33.4. He is absolutely flying, and those tyres don't seem to be wearing out at all on Santana's car.
Yeah, thankfully the races generally aren't long enough to warrant much worrying about the tyres here, but yeah. Oh, here we go for Capet, trying to take Chervinsky down the inside turn 3 there, but just nothing doing it this time. And he's, yeah, no, I mean, you can tell Capet's definitely a tiny bit frustrated not being able to get past Chervinsky, who is doing a fantastic job defending. He's putting his car in all the right places without losing way too much momentum. He's keeping that minimum speed up very nicely, especially considering he's got somebody with the experience of Capet behind him.
Exactly, and Risto Capet, it's a full frustration at the moment as we go back to a freeway battle. A 6th position, that is Mike Bell being bared down upon. There's Reginas Karula in close company as well. Karula's had a bit of a quiet race, and now he's starting to come alive in the final few laps. So, will Mike Bell and Bradley Sellers work together, or is it every man for himself in the last 2 laps?
I have to say, I've had the joy of racing against Mike a few seasons. He's good at defending. The notable Bell train, as it's called.
There's another train behind, so this is Nick Cooper trying to get past Ellis, and it's Joe Gillett, very much an underdog in that. Another pink car here, but orange car, sorry. And here comes Ellis then, trying to challenge Joe Gillett. Can Jeffrey Ellis make it 3 wide as they go into turn 1, and round the outside goes Joe Gillett, but it's not going to be enough because here comes Jeffrey Ellis then into that 9th, it's Karula, I think, in 8th, Ellis 9th, Gillett 10th, and Cooper 11th. Cooper going to try again to go around the outside of Joe Gillett, and right behind is Joshua Dexter, of course, looking to like a vulture, waiting to snap them all up if they all bump into one another. So a 4-way fight here, and very, very entertaining indeed. And Jeffrey Ellis sliding actually to try and pull away from Joe Gillett. So Joe just about holding on there. Oh, and here he comes. He's going to punish Jeffrey Ellis for that slide, and it hits him, and Joe Gillett slides off into the grass. Oh, that was a bit clumsy there, and Joshua Dexter and Nick Cooper both get through.
As we see a three-way battle over here between Mike Bell, Bradley Sellers, and Corolla.
Well, Bradley's going for the inside really early then, so Mike Bell is going to have Bradley tucked back into the slipstream then as they go under the bridge, approaching the final sector. Santana is right in the way of victory, I think, as there is Capet starting the final lap then with Santana a couple of seconds up ahead, but Capet trying to go around the outside of Philip Savinski. Savinski just holds the inside there. No way through for Risto.
You know, but, yeah, just touching the cars through turn 1 there as well. Touching tyres there, and yeah, no, there's just so many fights now. Groups of 2 or 3 just fighting everywhere now. You've got Lawless, who's started from last place, 29th, and is now finding himself 40th. That is really impressive. On you know, it's just, you know, there's been a few incidents around, but still, that is a very good race.
Here comes Risto Capit, last ditch attempt then to get back into 4th place, but Zawinski just holds his line, and Capit has to back out once more.
Yeah, you can say, I mean, trying everything he can, but just not able to get the momentum to get past Chervinsky, who again is placing it right.
Well.
Ooh.
Here comes Carlos Santana then. He's done everything he needed to do. Pole position despite losing the lead. He got it back. And race 1 goes to Carlos Santana with David Carter a full 6 seconds in arrears. A very impressive victory for Carlos Santana. Yasse Landon, despite kicking up a bit of dust at the end there, he will take another podium to his collection. And that's going to lift Yasse's spirits yet further. Philip Zawinski will hold on to 4th from Risto Capit. Mike Bell heading Bradley Sullis and Jonas Karula over the line. There is no last-minute heartbreak. Mike Bell will hold on to 6th despite Bradley Sullis pushing him all the way. Here comes Joshua Dexter. He will miss out to Jeffrey Ellis and Nick Cooper ahead of him. And then it is poor Joe Gillett who lost that top 10 position right at the death there. With Marek Petras, Brody Lawless, and Oliver Taras is going to take reverse grid pole then, having finished 15th and taking the final point then. Taras, all is not lost despite that massive flip he did earlier. So in terms of acrobatics, 10 out of 10. In terms of results, room for improvement, I think, for Oliver. Let's see if race 2 goes a bit better.
Yeah, here we go, Horvig, Caroline Horvig, just finishing up race as well in 23rd. And Sokolowski was running quite high during the first couple of laps, but got seemingly involved in an incident. Very unlucky to not be up there. And Panisi, oh no, Panisi's spun it going through on the final lap here. I'm wondering if there's been an incident with somebody else.
And Frederick Lejon, so I'm inclined to think he's lost it all on his own, sadly, for Will. But here we go, somebody's slowing down, going into the pits ahead of him. Is that Berzins, I think, who's a couple of laps down, 5 laps down precisely. There is Panisi. He does finish the race, thank goodness for him, but that is going to be the last man over the line then. Carlos Santana for the first time then in GPVWC Academy, ahead of David Carter in 2nd, Yasse Latinen in 3rd in the Green Academy car. Then it is Philip Zawinski holding off Risto Capit in the 2 dark blue machines. Mike Bell, another turquoise car, takes another great top 6 finish just ahead of Bradley Stillers and Jonas Karula. Jeffrey Ellis recovers to 9th after a difficult qualifying, gaining 10 places in the race, I think, with Nick Cooper behind in 10th. And Joshua Dexter finishes 11th. Joe Gillett losing out right at the end. He will finish 12th. Marek Petras 13th. Brody Lawless from the very, very back, as you say, Scott, getting that 14th position with Oliver Taras claiming 15th, the final points, and reverse grid pole. So watch out for Lawless and Taras resuming their fight that we saw at the Nürburgring. Dylan McKenna, he just misses out. He will finish 16th ahead of Jake Johnson. Then is Yanis Loati 18th. Christian Vazdar 19th. Bradley Lamport rounds out the top 20. Then we have Domenico Scarpelli, who got involved in the incident early on, recovering to 21st ahead of Dean Sheesby. Caroline Harvick gets a very tidy 24th ahead of Matthias Solakowski. Frederick Lejon will finish 25th ahead of William Panisi. Christos Berzins will not finish actually because he was too far behind. He will be classified as 27th with Louis Smith and Leo Smith, the two Smiths, the two elder Smiths actually, both failing to finish. So not a good day to be called Smith, it would seem. But still, race 2 to go, and plenty of points up for grabs. Oh, actually, no points whatsoever, actually. I don't know why I keep talking about points, because Academy, it's literally just about who wins the races. That's all anyone will remember, sadly. But anyway, lots of action, guys, and lots to reflect on as we wait for race 2 in just a few short minutes' time. But, now, before we start the discussion, let's go to a very, very short break, which we'll see you on the other side of. Welcome back to GPVWC Academy. We've just had race 1 here for Poznań in Poland, of course. This not often used but excellently flowing racetrack that's already provided its fair share of action, and I'm sure there's still more to go. My name is Ed Hunter. Alongside me is Scott Sovic. After a brilliant victory for Mr. Carlos Santana, of course. He's going to start 15th, and we're going to see Oliver Tarras taking a reverse grid pole position then. And of course, he has taken real pole position as well last time out. This race at the Nürburgring. Tarras will be looking to learn from that experience. We saw him on a bit of a wild ride in race 1, particularly when he crashed and did a few flips for us. And for style, but I think minus a couple for execution.
Yeah, no, definitely. It was a wild ride for him, for sure. And but you saw as well that section of track. It's been very tricky for a lot of people. Even you saw Kappa in race 1 as well, trying to recover. I imagine we didn't get to see it on broadcast, but I imagine there's a bit of tarmac there that's quite bumpy going through that section before the slow corner going on to the back straight, and it is. From experience, that is a very tricky part of the track, because you are very much pushing the car to its limits every lap, and it's a lot more treacherous there than it is throughout than most of the track, to be honest, because there's so little margin for error there, and it's not very flat either. So it's flat surface around the actual track.
Because usually it's the high-speed stuff that you expect to be the more dangerous part, where people are running side by side. But there's plenty of room to slipstream one another down these long straights, the sort of straight and the one preceding it as well before the final corner. Pretty good slipstreaming ground. Anyway, the grid is being set then with Oliver Tarras at the head of it. We are about to get going then. So Scott, take us through then the grid order as they're just populating. Go.
Yeah, so as you've said, we've got Oliver Tarras on pole. After that, I'm not too sure of the grid right now, but
I think we're waiting for Marek Petras to appear. There we go.
Yeah. So on the front row, we've got Oliver Tarras and Brodie Lawless, recovering very well in race 1. Marek Petras in P3 with Joe Gillett in P4. That's the second row of the grid. Third row, Joshua Dexter and Nick Cowper. Fourth row, 7th place is Jeffrey Ellis and Jonas Kaurala in 8th, in that very nice liveried car. Bradley Sellers and Mike Bell making up the rest of the top 10 there. Risto Kapet and Philip Chervinsky doing a fine job in race 1 in 12th. Jussi Lahtinen and David Carter make up row 7 in also very fine drive, and the winner from race 1, Carlos Santana, along with I've just missed that. I'm very sorry. Jake Johnson and Dylan McKenna in P16. Jake Johnson, Yanis Luati, Christian Vazdar. Apologies. We've got Lamport, Scarpelli, Sheesby, Horvig, Mateusz Sokołowski in P24. P25, Frederick Leon. P26, William Panisi, P20, and who was the last finisher, and the last 3 places on the grid taken up by Christer Bergens, Louis Smith, and the other, and I do not believe we actually have Leo Smith starting this race, so it seems to be a 28 car grid for this race, and it'll definitely be interesting to see how this reverse grid affects. Especially the first lap. It'll be interesting to see who's going to be able to wind their way through the field.
It's not hanging around. Neither is Brodie Lawless. They get to the front row long before Marek Petras and Joe Gillett have appeared. But yeah, it seems like Louis Smith, the Soul Smith, seems like this town isn't big enough. Despite appearances, this circuit isn't big enough for 2 L Smiths.
Yeah, but no, yeah, so sorry, go on.
Christus Berzins, I might just be my screen going down there, but I thought I saw Berzins missing a front wing, but that might just be my mind playing.
Yeah, there's definitely yeah, could be. But yeah, it's definitely been a
Yeah, and I think
different
he's missing
formation
it,
lap. Yeah, so into the pits he'll come, and Louis Smith then to line up at the back of the grid. So here we go for race 2 at Tor Poznań in Poland for round 9.
Yep. Right, so we wait then for the lights to go on. It is Taras on the right and Wallace on the left then. And tension building here. Which of these two? Neither of them has won a race yet. This could be their best opportunity yet. And we got those in the second row waiting to pounce. There, Oliver Taras has a beautiful view of the starting lights. So too does Brody Lawless. 3 are on, 4 and now 5. And now Poland is about to see some action. Race 2 is underway and Oliver Taras is stranded then. Got completely caught out. And who is that going around the outside of him? I think that is Joshua Dexter then gaining position. But Brody Lawless climbs up to the lead from Marek Petras. Joe Gillette is now into the top 3, trying to go round the outside of Petras into turn 1. But behind, it is absolutely insane. 3 and 4 wide through turn 1. And that's somebody getting a little bit crossed up. Is that Santana gaining position past Risto Capit again. So there is Capit just losing out once more at the start of the race and going around the outside because everyone is holding each other up. Somebody's spun off onto the grass there, Scott. And it's chaos. Absolute bedlam. It's all kicking off.
Oh yeah, no, like Sellers, it's still continuing. There is, it's been a bit of a mish. That is, that's not going very well for a lot of people there.
Thought it was bad for the guy going into the pits there on the formation lap, losing his front wing, but it seems that was a dress rehearsal for the first lap where everyone did the same thing. As we see somebody going side by side there, so it looks like the order now, as we see Oliver Taras is drifting, trying to get back up into the podium places. Brody Lawless leads Joe Gillette, who's gotten around the outside of Marek Petras in all of that. Then it is Taras in 4th ahead of Nick Cowper. Then it is Joshua Dexter 5th, Jeffrey Ellis 7th, Jonas Karula in 8th, Mike Bell 9th, and Risto Capit rounding out the top 10. So Capit somehow avoided the absolute insanity there in the middle sector.
Yeah, no, like it's been it's been a wild ride for first lap now, as it's Gillett and Petras fighting going into turn 1, with Gillett just staying on the inside there with Petras.
Well to keep up with Joe Gillett there, and this looks like Joshua Dexter trying to gain a few more positions right behind Cowper, and he's got Jeffrey Ellis all over the back of him too. So, you don't know where to look here. It's like a rainbow of cars here in this Academy field as Taras tries to go all the way around the outside of Marek Petras, and Petras spins the wheels. Through goes Oliver Taras back on the podium and looking to make up the ground he'd lost at the very start of this race as Cowper gets pushed off there.
Yeah, that's quite an aggressive move there. I couldn't quite tell who that was because there's so many similar colours here, but it's like this is like touring cars. Honestly, it is a touring car track, so I'm not surprised that these feisty little cars are producing touring car style racing as well.
And Dexter looking to take advantage as well. Jeffrey Ellis has got the inside, but it becomes the outside. Has to sweep around. And Petras makes contact with Dexter, and that could allow Mike Bell to get involved as well. Indeed, he does. 2 places go for Mike Bell, who spins in front of everyone.
Yeah, no, it looked like it got Petras and Bell made contact there, and it's very unlucky for Mike, who's made a good, very good. Yeah, no, you like just a lot of the people starting in the top 15 now have. Had some incidents so far this race now, as Taras going into turn 1. Close behind, and we've got 4 wide.
Santana trying to gain. He crashes. He missed it. That was completely misjudged there. And who's that he's collected there? Is that
it's Cowper and Petras, I think. That's
Petras. So Santana going all the way down the inside, and there just wasn't enough space left for him there.
Yeah, no, like that was.
It was a bit marginal already, wasn't it, Scott?
Yeah, no, like going 4 wide anywhere is a bit. You're taking a risk by doing that essentially, and they're definitely trying to keep. You could tell from the 3 others that they were trying to defend as well as possible. So it's a bit unlucky for Carlos there, because it looked like he kept his line. Quite honestly, so.
Stories at the end of this one, Scott. That's for sure. In the interviews, as Sokolowski just has a lovely drift there in the middle sector. It's going to be, let's see what the gap are up front. Oliver Taras now having got past Joe Gillette. Seconds down on him. It has been gaining a little bit of time there. I think there's a tenth slower the previous lap, actually. Lawless. Then we've got down on Gillette. Then we've got Latinen, who's by stealth gotten into the top 5 by virtue of staying out of everyone's incidents. Latinen has kept his nose very much clean. We saw this in race 2 at the Nürburgring, where he got trouble at the start, but he was able to just keep gaining ground and get into the top 10 there. But now Brody Lawless position to control things, because if Taras can't keep up with him, then Brody Lawless just needs to hold on. This is the start for Oliver Taras then. He just bogged down, didn't he, Scott? Do you think maybe he just didn't react in time, or was it just he didn't engage gear properly?
No, I think it's a combination of the two, really. It just looked like one that he wasn't able to get it in the right bite point either, and it's just the just not reacting in time. And here we have the incident with Mike Bell and Petras. It's a very brave, it's a very it's a very brave move from Mike to go through there, but as well it's probably a racing incident, that one, to be honest. It's hard to judge. Here we've got
on the left. Santana just got tagged, and I think Petras may have tagged Kalpers as well.
Yeah, it's been
3 of them kind of got it wrong there.
Yeah, no, it's been like very small margins when you've got so many cars beside each other as well. So it's
Taras has already caught Brody Lawless, and Lawless defending down the straight. Taras down the inside under the bridge, and I think Oliver Taras has taken the lead, Scott.
Oh yeah, he has. It's a nice move going out of this penultimate into the final corner, and Oliver Taras in the lead as we start lap 5, sorry. And just being able to. No.
Oh dear, and Ellis just hits it. Whoever that was coming out the pits there, I think it may have been Karula or Lejon or Capit, I think, getting it recovering from their incidents earlier. So,
it's very unlucky.
Dropping down to 8.
Yeah, unlucky to come up on that kind of traffic at that point there. But yeah, here we go. Jeffrey Ellis on against who is that now? And here we go, one of the Purple Academy car. And just it's a hard situation to manage when you've got a car.
And it's a horrible pit exit, isn't it?
Yeah, no, like straight into turn 1 as well. But yeah, again, Academy series a bit different from the rest of the series. And Sokołowski's had an incident. He's lost his front wing.
Yeah, poor Mateus just has not gone his way today whatsoever, as Bradley Sturz continues to fight with the similar livery red car of Christus Berzins ahead of him for 6th position. Meanwhile, holding up. Oh, go on.
Oh no, there's been contact with that's Ellis and David Carr. He's been bullied around a bit now as Jeffrey. So very unlucky to get.
Lap or they don't run into each other, can they? Scott?
No, it's like I mean they are hell for leather at the moment out there. It's a wild ride for sure. Like it's race 2.
I've seen this entire race is Oliver Taras's moves as far as the Gillette and Lawless. Other than that, it has been absolute bedlam and insanity, and not of the good kind.
Oh yeah, no, like it's been super aggressive. It's very much the race 2 mentality of everyone's just pushing to the limit. But yeah,
no. And that is Santana going through the gravel there ahead of them. So I think David Carter and him have come together again.
Yeah, could be. I didn't quite catch that, although it seems to be one of the purple cars there rather than the red car of Santana. And Ellis making a move on McKenna and gets past quite easily there. McKenna not quite able to keep the line there, and just gives Ellis plenty of space there. Nick Cowper now recovering from that incident earlier on with Petras right behind, trying to get past Domenico Scarpelli, and it's an incident.
David Carter, what were you thinking there? Just sliding up the inside and just hoping the brakes would engage in time.
Yeah.
And went David Carter with the rear, it's just completely locking there.
Yeah, it's a brave decision trying to, under the best of circumstances, making a move there is tricky enough, and then you are in those kinds. And but it's good to see that he's still continuing quite easily though. But he has dropped a couple of positions as a result.
Meanwhile, Oliver Taras has pulled away from Brody Lawless to the tune of 2 seconds. Latinen has got ahead for 3rd position. And then we got this battle again. Nick Cowper not giving up, trying to go round the outside of Scarpelli, who's having a much better race 2 than race 1. Pelly not making it easy at all through turn 1, and now Nick Cowper is going to have to go the long way around potentially as they go towards the middle sector. Somebody missing a rear wing and sliding across the track there, and that I think might actually be Frederick Lejeune, who's 3 laps down, Scott.
Yeah, no, it's Leon. Fortunate to have that incident right in front of the leading cars, or the cars in the lead lap at least. So yeah, just he's not having a very good time today, by the looks of it. But yeah, here we go. Sellers behind Sellers behind Christos Bersians, who has somehow managed to get from 27th on the grid to 7th, which you know, keeping it clean through the early part of the race proved vital for him, as he's actually managed to get up and sneak himself into 6th at the moment without seemingly getting involved in any incidents. Just you'd hope he's not got any damage on that car at the moment. And here we go with Petras possibly making a move on Cowper. I won't be now. He's gone wide. Going wide at the final corners.
Overhead though. Is that Cowper trying to challenge Bradley Lamport for 15th position? And indeed he gets through into turn 1. Nice move then by the Pink Machine.
Yeah, very nice, very clean move as well.
I tell you who else is impressing, Santana, who was absolutely nowhere after 2 big incidents he was in. He's up to 8th. Bear down on Bradley Sellers.
Yeah, he's had good pace as well, so...
Bit up and down, 25-4 that last lap. He's absolutely flying out there. Second faster than the leaders.
Yeah, no, the fresh air he's got as well. I don't know how much he'll be able to gain up in the remaining 3 and a bit laps that he's got, but I mean, you've got...
over the back of Brody Wallace for second as well. Sorry, Scott. 2 tenths between the pair, and Yassi Latinen is in the green car, is absolutely pushing Brody Lawler to look to have things his own way. Oh, and is that somebody spinning behind them a lap down, I think?
Yeah, looks like himself. Yeah, doesn't look like it's one of the lead cars from what I can tell.
Latinen really tucking in now as we cut to Will Panisi on his own down in 18th. Here we go. Latinen's going to try around the outside. Brody Lawless defends the inside, but it's no good. Latinen gets the slingshot round the outside, sweeps in second place, goes to Yassi Latinen.
Yeah, I think Lawless realised he wasn't going to have much of a chance, even despite being on the inside. Looks like he might be struggling with something as well, by the looks of things. But I mean, yeah, good move from Latinen to get it into second. Now he'll be trying to chase Taras, but only time will tell if we can actually see something. But it'll be tough here as here comes Carter. He's not had enough of the fight yet. Down the inside of Jeffrey Ellis, little bit of contact made, but Ellis left the cards whip and no more. And David Carter says, "Thank you very much. I'll take that gladly." Oh, that's a very aggressive move. Oh, that's
Jeffrey Ellis.
Yeah, he's very keen on getting past or repassing Carter, should I say, after making a brave defense into turn 4 there. Still fighting. Don't think he'll quite be able to make it through here, but there's a bit of bumping here. Gotta be careful, guys. These aren't touring cars, despite the racing.
Up the inside, will David Carter leave enough space? He just about does, and this is going to put David Carter offline. It's Bray putting his foot in, but he's going to be punted in the rear, and they both go into the barriers there. And that is very, very clumsy from the pair of them. Mike Bell will go through into the top 9. I think is McKenna going to sweep through as well? Yeah, definitely past at least one of them. Yeah,
Ellis still in the gravel there. Yeah, no, that looked like quite a wild incident with the 2 of them.
Point there. I think that would have been wise, to be brutally honest. I think David Carter, I don't think, is in the wrong there. Ellis looks severely damaged, or potentially
yeah, no, that's him out of the race, unfortunately. Scarpelli in 12th place now, right behind McKenna, trying to attack McKenna and fight and defending from Cowper at the same time. It's not an easy job when you've got like these Gaggle 3 cars at a time. And oh no, there's been a bump
back there. Whoa, so there we go, 3rd place then for Nick Cowper, as Scarpelli is tagged around. Unfortunately for him, he was having a great race up until that point, and Cowper fancies another position. Top 11 he goes. McKenna is absolutely defenseless, or is he? Round the outside they go, side by side. into the middle section here. B, McKenna with the inside line. Cooper will have to go the long way round, and this could enable Bradley Lamport to get involved again. But Cowper continuing to squabble then. Great stuff, Scott.
Yeah, no, like very good racing. You can see McKenna got a really good drive, very good traction out of that corner. So to be able to defend that place again after Cowper briefly getting ahead, but you can see Cowper now trying to get past McKenna again with Lamport and Dean Sheesby in P14 right behind. Here we go, fight for 6th place, is that, or is it 5th? 5th with Dexter and Berzinch.
The somebody spinning, is that Santana? Just trying to dive it up the inside and hope for the best. I think it was actually on Bradley Sellers. So there we go. Now another 4 wide train as they both go 2 wide into turn 1. Somebody coming out the pits, and Cowper has got the inside on McKenna. This time he gets through, but behind is that somebody else. That's Lamport, and McKenna still squabbling away, and maybe a lapped car getting involved there as well. But it is all kicking off. Dexter now ahead of Berzins, Seller and Bell. Santana down to 9th, Carter 10th. McKenna 11th, but not for much longer because here comes Nick Cowper round the outside, Scott.
Yeah, no, like this is a fantastic battle between Cowper and McKenna especially. Got Lamport right behind there as well. Got lap traffic though between Lamport and the 2 ahead. Oliver Taras though coming through the last couple of corners now. You know, despite the start he's had a fine race after that, and just going through the final corner, I think he'll be very, very pleased to have recovered in the way he did to get back into the lead.
He will. Oliver Taras takes his first win in GPVWC Academy, but Jesse Lahtinen halves the gap, but he made his charge a little bit too late. Brody Lawless will hold on to the podium, and I think that's his 2nd podium in GPVWC, holding off Joe Gillett, but Carlos Santana goes a little bit too wide there. Come on, Carlos, that was never on, was it? Carlos Santana trying to get past Mike Bell, the impassable man, as we call him, Mike Bell.
Yeah.
Kind of being a bit too creative, if I say so myself. And here, Cowper in a brilliant duel with McKenna. It looks like Dylan McKenna is going to hold on to 11th, which I believe is one of his best finishes in Academy. And wow, just you don't really know where to look. I think the end of both races 1 and 2, everyone just hit the crazy button and decided to completely lose it there. Lots and lots of incidents. I think the stewards are going to have after this one.
Yeah, no, I think definitely there'll be some things to look at, but as we are on board now with Will Panisi going through the final corner, the man who's pretty much made everything this series happen, this entire league happen, and it's very nice to see him being able to finish both races tonight.
It was 12 places higher than he finished in race 1, I believe. Oh no, 10 places, sorry, because 26th in race 1, 16th in race 2. As there is Gillett just having a little bit of a burnout there, celebrating his 4th position and 2 top 6s there, I think, in both races. That is pretty impressive, so.
Yeah, very consistent throughout the races. Yeah, I mean, you've seen, and Bersinch as well, just doing a fine job of, you know, keeping the car, keeping it clean and actually moving up 20 positions to get into P7.
And Bradley Sellers did get him right at the end, though, in some dramatic moves, too. But anyway, Scott, take us through the final finishing order.
So, Oliver Tanas with the win tonight in race 2, with Jussi Lahtinen just over 2 seconds behind in P2. Brody Lawless in P3 completing the podium. Joe Gillett in 4th. Joshua Dexter 5th. Bradley Sellers 6th. Christos Bershins in 7th. Mike Bell in P8. Carlos Santana in P9, our race 1 winner. David Carter in P10 with I mean, most of these guys have been involved in a few instances, so I think they're all pleased to be in the top 10. Dylan McKenna finishing 11th. Nick Cowper, who was running in the top 10 earlier, in 12th. Bradley Lamport in P13. Dean Sheesby in P14. 15th was Domenico Scarpelli. William Panisi in P16. Christian Vazdar in P17. 18th, Mateusz Sokowski, Marek Petras, and Karolina Horvig to complete the top 20. The remaining drivers unable to finish were Jeffrey Ellis, Frederick Leon, Yanis Lobati, Philip Chervinsky, Jonas Kaurala, Jake Johnson, Risto Kappet, who's unlucky not to see the finish line, and Louis Smith.
The list of retirements tells its own story about how absolutely chaotic that race 2 was. Tick, even by Academy standards. I think our trip to Poland for the Polish Prix, here at Tor Poznan was eventful in both races. So all from us tonight. We'll be back. We have got maybe a few interviews actually. I'm not sure what Alex Who wants to talk to us, but Dylan McKenna I'd be very keen to talk to. Next time we'll be back for the Canadian Grand Prix, of course, on the 26th of June later in the month at Circuit Gilles Villeneuve. So that should be a much more conventional racetrack. But shall we have a word then, Scott, with Dylan McKenna?
Yeah, let's see if there's anyone's keen to talk, first of all. So
yeah, we might need other people to drag interviews in, because when I do it, it seems to take an age to update. There we go. I think we are joined now by Dylan McKenna. No, Dylan McKenna has disappeared. That might be my fault. I'm sorry, guys.
No,
we're now joined by Dylan McKenna. I think he's been ushered away elsewhere, sadly. So unless you want to talk to Alex who didn't compete in the race, we might have to finish things here, unfortunately. Oh, Dylan. Right. Dylan, can you hear me?
Yeah, I can. Hello, can you hear me?
I can't hear Dylan.
I think.
There we go.
can,
Right.
yeah.
Sorry about that.
There we go. There we go.
So Dylan McKenna now joins us after an epic race 2 battle there with Nick Kalpers in that pink car. I remember there were so many battles, I forget who you're battling with, Dylan. But in the end, it is 11th place for you. You qualified 14th in race 1. Both races you had to fight all the way through from pretty much lap 1 through to the end of lap 12. Bit exhausted, Dylan. That looked absolutely exhausting out there.
It was a very roller coaster of the 2 races. The first race, I basically bottled the reverse pole because I was, P13? And then I get distracted by someone going on my inside, and I kind of just take turn 1 way too wide and go off in the grass. But I redeemed myself in race 2, so I can't complain.
I don't know if you saw Oliver Taras, who did get reverse group pole, but he did a massive flip over the hill.
Yeah, I saw.
I don't know how he did that.
I was just behind him. I may have done that a couple of times in the practices by accident, because the curbs kind of killed me multiple times. But we ignore that part. It's fine. At least it wasn't in the race.
And race 2 there, a brilliant result in the end, just missing out on the top 10, but still top 11 for you, I'm pretty sure, in a GPVWC Academy. And it really feels like the opportunity's opened up, and it feels a word away from the Nürburgring of you running out of field. You've definitely banished all the memories of that, apart from me, because I have to remember everything, of course.
I remember just a little funny moment when it happened. I made sure to put in a bit extra fuel this time around, so I didn't accidentally break down the side of the road again.
Right, what are you going to do to celebrate that top 11 finish then, Dylan? Because you certainly earned that.
Can I say that again? It kind of lagged out. Can you say that again, please?
I was going to say, what are you going to do to celebrate the top 11 finish?
I haven't got a clue, to be honest, but yeah, I'm just happy that me and Nick had a good battle, and Domenico was behind, was almost going to get in, but I think I think he overjudged going into turn 3, and he just ran into the back of me, which is unfortunate for him. But yeah, a good battle nonetheless. I can't complain, and feels like I've got a podium at this point with the racing pedigree.
You never know, Mr. McKenna. We could see you on the podium when we get to Circuit Gilles Villeneuve in a few weeks' time. Any last questions, Scott, before we let Dylan go?
No, I've not got anything, but I just have to say well done on getting to the finish in both races. It's quite a bumpy ride for a lot of people there.
Yeah, I was a bit annoyed after race 1, but yeah, powered on, and got that result, so can't really complain about that.
Thanks for putting on an excellent show for us tonight, Dylan, and congratulations on the P11. We'll see you in a few weeks' time.
Thank you.
All right, so Scott, shall we talk to David Carter next? I'm sure he's got some interesting things to say. He didn't a third place in race 1. Oh, I've accidentally grabbed Mike Bell instead. There we go. Right, David Carter now joins us after 2 very, very hectic races. So, David, race 1, a very clean run to third position. Race 2, unfortunately, very, very incident-packed. And in the end, you had to settle for, I think, 9th position in the end, if I'm not mistaken.
Well, that race 1 was a bit funny because I thought I was second.
Oh, did you? Oh, yeah, because because Risto came off the track. Yeah, I forgot about that. So
fine.
it was
But
second.
yeah, it was. Yeah, it was really eventful. You know, great to be back after, 3 years away from racing altogether. So a bit rusty on the old racecraft, but pace-wise, had a lot of help to get where I am from the likes of Miss Dylan Platt, Tom Ely, Lewis Dykes as well, helping me out as well. So it's been really, really good to be back. That race 2 was a mess, absolutely shocking. I didn't help in that, in all honesty, but Academy hasn't really changed much since some of the ways, it's fair to say. But
You got the excuse of 3 years rustiness. So
yeah, and touring car racing as well, you know, so I'm used to my wing being a front bumper, but yeah, pace-wise, I'm really happy. You know, I never thought it'd be as quick as I was tonight. I thought it'd be about 2 seconds off the pace easily, but the speed's there, and I'm delighted with that. So it means a lot to be back and as far up as I was. You know, getting nosebleeds, being so close beyond Risto, to be honest. But that Carlos Santana, he's a star in the making. He is. He really, you know, if he carries on at the rate of progress he's on, he's going to go really, really far.
yeah, he was beating a lot of drivers like Jake Dennehan in practice as well in terms of his lap times. So certainly Carlos Santana, as you say, Dave, and it's very gracious for you to say so because I thought you'd be bigging yourself up a bit more than him, but especially coming back from 3
other
years.
people.
That is very kind of you, very supportive. And race 2, any word on race 2? Because it seemed like Carlos didn't quite have things his own way there, just missing out on Mike Ben. You, of course, had scrapes, and you admitted yourself it wasn't entirely clean from your end, but just surviving that race is an achievement in and of itself.
The thing is, right, if people want it, they're going to get it. Right, if they're happy to give it to me, they're going to get it back. So that's exactly what they're asking for, Mr. Ellis, especially.
Ooh, Jeffrey in trouble then.
Wow, he's not in my Christmas card. Let's put it that way. But
the list gets shorter and shorter each race you do.
Worth the stamp either. But yeah, my apologies to Mike as well, because I say he's synonymous for having a bit of a bell train. I thought I can sneak down the inside, misjudged it, but I suffered, which was the right. At least he didn't suffer from it, so hands up. But I recovered. What was it? 4 incidents had in race 2 and got a top 10. Not the worst day's work.
Not at all. You can still come with your head held high and that second place to your name. Any final thoughts, Scott, before we let David go and let Mike Bell into the broadcast room?
No, I just have to say it's very nice to see David. See you back in the driving seat, David. It's been a while.
Long
since
time
I've seen
no
you.
see, Mr. Sovic.
Yeah,
Hear from you, buddy.
Yeah, no,
I
it's
haven't changed much. I still reckon a few people here and there.
No, but I was just going to say it must be nice to be able to race at a track that I presume you've had some experience at from before in touring cars. That might also have helped a bit into with the treatment that you were receiving tonight as well.
Yeah. Well, it was 10 years ago. TPS Clio's. That's how long ago it was since I raced here. So I've only been off Factor 1, but yeah, I loved it. And Canada afterwards, if I get to race at Canada, it's one of my favourite tracks. So I'm looking forward to pounding some laps around there.
Looking forward to watching you in action then, David Carter. But congratulations on the P2 and the double finish in both races. And we'll see you in 2 weeks' time at Circuit Gilles Villeneuve.
Thank you very much. Thanks for the broadcast, guys. Wish you all well.
So let's see if we can get Mike Bell in. So we are now joined by the one, the only, Mike Bell. Mike, those look like 2 pretty eventful races for you. 6th in race 1, and I think, was it top 7 in race 2?
I have no idea where I finished in race 2, if I'm honest.
Neither do I. It was changing every lap. From about 5th downwards, it was changing every lap.
Yeah, well, firstly, I mean, it's Academy Series, and the way I do Academy Series, it just seems to make really fun racing, and today was no exception. Poznan's obviously a fantastic circuit, but it's not necessarily in the realms of popularity that a lot of the other kind of F1 and Grade 1 circuits are. So I kind of was banking on not too many people knowing this track too well, and just turning up with an hour and a half or so practice. Unfortunately, I then got a phone call, so it's like, oh, okay, I really need to rely on the fact that I know this circuit, and yeah, find a bit in the setup. But man, those races, like the first race, I took the start, made an all right start, started picking places off, and then I got up to 6th place. I didn't see anyone in front of me. And I thought, oh, how did I get here? like every lap after that, I was losing at least like a second a lap on the guys in front and just sort of desperately trying to hold off. I think it was Brad, and I don't remember who else it was in there. I think it might have been Eunice.
It was Karula, yes.
Yeah, and obviously, me and Brad in Academy Series, that's always always been fun every round this season. Throw Eunice in there, a bit of extra spice into the mix, and I'm just trying to hold my position, and Brad's audibly having concerns as to where you can go, what you can do, and then just to pit them across the line was fantastic. And then race 2, I genuinely thought I was going to do it again. I'm going up through the pack. I can see that the leader's breaking away. I didn't know who it was, but I'm thinking, okay, there's someone who started up towards the front. Hypothetically speaking, I should be able to catch this gap. And I made a move, I think it was for like 5th place or something, and I just got hooked and spun. And Sod's Law again, Eunice T-boned me. He had nowhere to go and completely wrecked my car. So it was just a comeback drive from then. And I ended up battling with Carlos on the last lap. And
he tried to go off track to overtake you right at the final corner. It didn't quite work out for him.
Respect for the commitment. I mean, it's never really going to work. And obviously in other series, it would, be deeply frowned upon. But it's Academy Series. He's not gonna. It's each event is completely isolated.
He didn't crash into you, so it's all good.
I survived. I got the position, and yeah, I mean, one thing I will say to him is he had a demon quick car and dirty air around that final corner. So with enough air, that final corner was flat out, but only if you didn't have a car in front of you. So maybe the dirty air caught him out, and we'll call it benefit of the doubt, but. Either way, it was fantastic, and I think all the boys in the voice chat were having a whale of a time down there in the RD lounge, and that arguably makes it even more fun when you're just in with a group of 6 or 8 guys and it's just screaming madness in the voice chat to go with the screaming madness that's going on out on the circuit. So
it'd be hard to have an existential crisis wondering how you got there when there's all that screaming going on, mate.
Believe me, it's not. It really isn't. But yeah, no,
anyway, great to hear from you, and more good top. I think it's top 6, and is it top 8? I think from race 2 then.
Yeah, who cares? I had a good time.
Yeah, it doesn't matter.
Let's go with that. Bring on the next one.
Absolutely. So, in fact, speaking of bringing on the next one, we might have to bring Carlos Santana in as our final interview. But Mike, thank you very much for coming to talk to us. We'll see you in action for more Mike Bell trains at the Canadian Grand Prix on the 26th of June in a few weeks' time. So I'm sure you're looking forward to that one.
Yeah, we'll do. Canada has a pretty special history for me. It's where I won my first race at GPVWC.
Good omens.
9 years ago now, so it's been a while. But yeah, thanks. Always a pleasure to chat to you guys, and have a good.
See you around, Mike. Right, so finally, I think it's fitting that our race 1 winner should get the final word after a pretty exceptional performance. Oh, and he's gone. That didn't go as planned. I think he was just about to leave the server, and then I dragged him into the broadcast room, Scott. I think that's what happened there. And I don't want to drag anyone else from the race director lounge. Oh, Carlos!
Hey, hello.
Carlos, are you there? Sorry about that. I thought you were just about to leave, and then I dragged you for an interview.
Oh, no. It's all good.
I want to say so. Congratulations for the win from pole position in race 1. I know Risto Capit got the better start and got the jump on you, but then Risto made a mistake. And you just held on from there. Race 2, a little bit more chaotic, to put it mildly. And with that dramatic finish, the man we just talked to, Mike Bell, you just fell short trying to go around off track to overtake him around the outside of the final corner, which was pretty brave. I think even Mike said full marks to you for trying. But so talk us through both races and your emotions, because a debut win, that was absolutely fantastic performance at the Poznań circuit.
Thank you. No, so the first race, I'd been trying to do a couple of those standing starts, but I never really got it down. So I was expecting Risto to, get a better start. But one thing that I'd been practicing throughout the day was race pace. So a lot of the times that I've been sending some of the sessions, like some 24/7s and 24/8s, were actually race pace. So what my plan was if he did get a better start, which I expected, I'd be behind him just stay behind him, save my tires, then push on the last bit. But he unfortunately took himself out, or well, fortunately for me. But yeah, my pace was there. It was a pretty decent race, the first one. Yeah, the second race, complete catastrophe. Like my start was all right. Then we got into what's that, like turn 3, and we were like 7 wide with cars all over the place, and I just tried to push my way through, which I eventually did. And then I got up to I don't really remember what position, but I was quite eager to get past because I didn't want the people in front to to get away completely. So we were 4 wide into T1, and I tried to keep myself as far in to the right as possible. But when I apparently I was gonna brake later than some of the others, and they caught my rear wheel. Right, I was about to brake and turn in, and went off the circuit and went all the way back to what I have no clue. I couldn't even bother to look at the leaderboard because it was such chaos. But I think I showed that my pace is there, and that was honestly the most important thing for me to do.
Absolutely. Even when you were stuck behind other cars, your pace, you were still setting purple sectors here, and then middle sector especially was very, very strong throughout the race. So I think you have to say you didn't really put, especially in race 1, you didn't put a foot wrong, and you were a little bit unlucky. Some of the moves, like you say, you sort of had to, you forced into those situations where they've slipped through, you had to sort of go 2 or 3 wide at points, and it was just a bit marginal, and there just wasn't quite enough space to make it through, like the rear tire, like you say, just being clipped. But Scott, before we let Carlos go, any questions for him? I think he's our final interview, so we'll wrap up after this.
Yeah, just quickly, just to see, because obviously you had that fantastic run to the race 1 win, but just wondering how that adjustment was going from leading the race easily, not really being pressured, to having to start in the middle of the pack for race 2, and then having to scythe your way through, trying to scythe your way through. Not always, unfortunately for you, not always successfully. But how was that actually getting a proper academy experience?
Yeah, like in race 1 when Risto he spun out, I was very relaxed because there wasn't one car that I had to follow. I just had to kind of take a deep breath and chill and just keep my lines like decently good. Keep my pace up. So I was very relaxed after lap 3 or 4 in the race, and it was pretty much a breeze to get the way to the end of the race from there. In race 2, as I mentioned, and also, as you also said, I wasn't always successful with my moves, but I feel like in these reverse grid situations that if you want to get towards the front and you don't want the front runners to get away, you have to be aggressive, and you have to go for a bit risky moves to make sure that gap to the front runners doesn't really happen, because they aren't slow. Like, I don't have that much pace that I can catch up 5 seconds in 2 laps. Like that's not what we're talking about at all. So I had to try, at least I felt like I had to try to make some aggressive moves and some risky decisions to try to make it up there, and I was almost there. But again, going for an aggressive, risky move, they can't always succeed, and that showed it.
Well, anyway, they certainly can't fault you for trying in race 2, Carlos, and I know you impressed a lot of people today. And I know you've been practicing for quite a while on this circuit, this Poznań circuit. There are quite a few specialists that were really able to shine, and I think you were definitely shining even among the specialists. So take a bow, and we look forward to seeing you in action again at Circuit Gilles Villeneuve in a few weeks' time, Carlos. And I think a lot of people will be keeping their eyes on you going forward.
I appreciate it. Yeah, I'm excited for the next race. I'll see you guys there.
Yeah, cheers, Carlos. I think we can let you go now, and Scott and I will end the broadcast, but you can enjoy your victory and chug down some champagne or whatever you want to do to celebrate.
Will do. You guys have a good one.
Great to hear. Cheers. All right, so Scott, then, as Carlos Santana leaves us then, celebrating his race 1 victory. Oliver Taras as well, let's not forget, taking his first victory in race 2. Despite that, bogging down at the start, was able to put in a great performance to repass Brody Lewis and take the win. So some pretty hectic. The front was a little bit more subdued, but behind it was absolute chaos. Like, he's 7 wide, did I hear correctly, going at one point into turns 3, 4, and 5, which is the track's pretty wide, but it's not that wide, is it, Scott?
No, I think from the footage it did look like it was 7 wide. I think more than what the track's meant for. So definitely some spicier action in race 2. But I mean, overall, you had very exciting races. Just these clusters of 4 or 5 cars fighting each other for the positions, and obviously race 1 was a bit more spread out, with the pace of drivers being where they were in comparison to qualifying, whereas race 2 really opened up for some fantastic racing, and saw definitely some newcomers to Academy shine today as well.
Yeah, absolutely. And speaking of which, the Poznań circuit gave us, as you say, 2 new winners in Academy for the very first time, in Santana and Taras, and I'm very, very excited personally, Scott, to see who are going to be our 2 winners next time out in a few weeks' time at Circuit Gilles Villeneuve in Montreal on the Ile Notre Dame on the 26th of June. Join us then for round 10 of the Academy Championship, but we hope you enjoyed round 9 here from Poland. I've been Edward Hunter alongside Scott Sovic and Heigo Poom, of course, our broadcast director. And thanks to everyone for filling in today, because it was a little bit chaotic in the comments box, but we got through in the end. Thank you, of course, for watching. We'll see you next time. Bye for now.